Good evening and welcome to J.C. Campbell Stadium, home of the Hampton Bulldogs. And we've got quite a matchup for you tonight between two highly ranked teams in the state of Tennessee. The Daniel Boone Trailblazers stand undefeated right now and are ranked 5th in the state. Meanwhile, the Hampton Bulldogs have one loss on the season, a very good game with a Gatlinburg-Pittman team that went back and forth. This should be a good matchup between two teams that are very physical, that like to run the football. It may come down simply to a question tonight of who controls the line of scrimmage. We'll be back in just a minute and break down this matchup for you tonight. But first, let's pay some bills and recognize our sponsors.
I felt like our wedding was so much fun. Chris with Venture Productions did our ceremony and he did all the music that we wanted, but you know, the reception's what everyone else usually remembers.
The new Mr. and Mrs. Zachary and Kara Flito!
From the very beginning, it was so much fun. Our first dance, we didn't want to do a slow dance. We wanted to do something kind of fun and a little crazy. So we told Chris this, and he was able to make a remix for us so that we could have a crazy dance. And it was a lot of fun. Throughout the whole entire event, he was coming up with games and dances to get people out on the dance floor, and I was so excited because I felt like the entire time people were always up and dancing. There was never a moment where it was just quiet. The energy was great. Everybody was always happy and excited. Everyone was always laughing, and the whole entire process was just a lot of fun because there was so much going on the entire time. Because I told Chris I wanted everything with, you know, games and dancing and everything, and I felt like that's what I got.
Kara, 3, 2, 1, let it go! Oh!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing, and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is!
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah.
Welcome back to J.C. Campbell Stadium here at Hampton, Tennessee. Let's break down this matchup tonight between these two teams who have 17 wins between them. Coach Lunsford for the Hampton Bulldogs standing in his 7th season after taking over from his dad, a longtime coach here at Hampton. One thing you have to know about Hampton, you recognize every year about them, is they love to run the football. They are a power run team. They are led in the run by Levi Lunsford, tailback number 9, 5'9", 210 pounds. He is strong, he's tough, he's, as Coach Lunsford told me, he's not the best athlete, but he works harder than anyone on the field. Back at quarterback, led by a young man by the last name of Trivet. He will audible often when he comes to the line. He is smart, and he's a leader without a doubt. To provide Levi Lunsford some relief will be sophomore, number 12, Burleson. He's a change of pace back. Beginning of the year, he had some issues with fumbles, but he has fixed that issue. At the X tonight, look for Chance Point. Very athletic, probably the best athlete in the school. He plays catcher for the baseball team here at Hampton, and he's also on the basketball team. They will move him around a lot and take advantage of his athleticism. Their O-line and D-line are undersized, but they're extremely athletic. Led by Greg Tolley, number 65, number 64, Oliver. Austin Bentley, number 53, and the left tackle, Belcher and Fortner, will help lead that charge. Secondary is also a strength of Hampton's. The big question tonight for Hampton, simply put, is how does Hampton deal with Boone's size? As I was talking to Coach Lunsford tonight and I said, how do you prepare for this team? He basically said, you know, there's a lot of advantages to playing a good team like this that's up in your class. They're 5A compared to Hampton's 2A. But they have to be careful because sometimes games like this will come down to a game of attrition. And he cannot lose players in a game like this as Hampton looks long-term, as we've said, ranked number 2 in the state, as they look long-term towards the future in a potential state championship. But he talked about Boone's great defense, and he talks about how a team, you've got to find ways to move the ball against that stingy defense. Daniel Boone, on the other hand, 9-0. Longtime coach Jerry Jenkins. One thing he's been looking for this year, the defense is their strength. He's looking to get balanced. Last week, he got that in his quarterback, Luke Jenkins. 16 of 12 for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns. On the ground, they are led by Aiden Reiner, nearing 1,000 yards this year. He is sifty, strong. When you watch tape off of him, he'll often bounce off tackles. Against Morristown West, for example, the kid had 144 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's averaging nearly 100 yards per game and 13 touchdowns this season. They have their athletes as well. Landon Kirkpatrick will be in their X. Number 13, 5'11", with good leaping ability. He lines up all over the field, including in the flex and the stack position, and will play defense for them as well. One thing to recognize about this Daniel Boone team is that defensively and with special teams, they can put points on the board. Let's pause for just one moment as we recognize our flag and country with the national anthem. And we're back. Always important to pause and recognize country. Back to Daniel Boone. As I said, their special teams and their defense could put up points on the board. Sometimes they struggle some to put up points. They played Elizabethton earlier in the year, very good Elizabethton, and that was a whale of a defensive struggle. Came down to a bad snap from Elizabethton, which led to a 7-0 victory for Daniel Boone. On the defensive side, look for Henry Hamlin. He's got an invite right now to Marshall. He's tough. He plays football the old-fashioned way. Simply put, his effort and desire pushes him towards the ball carrier. He has a nose for the ball. So we stand here roughly at 3 minutes before kickoff tonight. We do want to mention the size difference as our two teams line up. You see Lunsford and Belcher for the Hampton Bulldogs, as well as the other team captains out there. But Daniel Boone's O-line is very big. They're led by Manny Dunlap, 6'5", 275 pounds, and Braden Nichols, who's 6'4" and 325. They are a wall and something that the Hampton Bulldogs will have to deal with tonight. So this lines up to be an extremely good matchup between two very well-coached teams. It really comes down to an issue of Daniel Boone's depth and how Hampton deals with that, and how Hampton also navigates the waters, as I said, with their side. Well, Hampton has won the toss, and they will receive tonight. Beautiful night here with the mountains in the background. Beautiful stadium here in Hampton, Tennessee. Once again, Hampton, Tennessee, 8-1, one loss to Gatlinburg-Pittman, a 3A team. They lost by 8 points in which was a slugfest that went back and forth. Daniel Boone this year, 9-0. We do want to recognize tonight that this is senior night. We got just a moment ago had an opportunity to see all the seniors from the football team and the golf team were lined up. Ben Shrewsbury, who's an excellent kicker with a big leg, will line up for the kickoff tonight as we're about to get underway. I want to tell you folks, it is crowded in here tonight. I wouldn't say they're standing room only, but it's pretty close to it. Ben Shrewsbury with your kick. Good leg, as we talked about, through the back of the end zone. So your Bulldogs will take over on offense.
Bathrooms are available in the agriculture building. Bathrooms are available in the agriculture building.
So Hampton comes to the line, led by Trivet. Trivet waiting in that snap, as you can see, a bunch formation, 3 backs, handoff to Lunsford. Not much doing there. Maybe a yard. That'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Trivet there to Lunsford. Stopped by a slew of Trailblazers. Same formation, 3 backs. In motion goes your tail. Hand off again, and once again, same song, different verse, but same results.
Number 12, Dominic Burleson on the carry.
Dominic Mollison there on the carry. As I said, Burleson is your change of back pace. Hard to tell because there were so many Trailblazers right there, how many, who was exactly responsible for that tackle. That'll bring up 3rd down and long. 10:53 left here in the first quarter. Handoff, a little bit of space there. Best run for the night. I think we're going to be about 2 yards short, though, of the first down. Levi Lunsford there on the carry.
Number 32, Henry Hellman on the tackle.
Number 32 there, looking for a number, Henry Hamlin, as we've talked about. Big-time hitter, 6'3", 220 pounds there on the tackle. He'll go tight end and linebacker when they shift in the offense, linebacker on defense. So this will bring up 4th down, and the Bulldogs choose to go for it. I believe that's going to be enough by the length of the football for the Bulldogs to get a first down. What a gutsy call that was on 4th down. Wow. Luke Scott there in the defensive end position. Single back with the 2 blockers. Trivet looks back to pass. Finds a man, has some space, and that ball is caught by number 11, Chance Point. Big gain for the Bulldogs. Pushed out of bounds at the Trailblazer 29-yard line. That'll bring up 1st and 10. Trivet with a good ball to his outside shoulder. Well-designed play. Single coverage there by the Trailblazers. This is their base formation. You'll see the Bulldogs line up in a lot. Toss sweep right there, the Levi Lunsford. Maybe a half a yard, not much more. Sorry, that was Jonathan Greenwell there on the carry. Henry Hamlin once again there on the tackle. Levi Lunsford taking a break right here. They've already gone through 3 backs already. 3 backs have gotten carries. Back in that Burleson there with the carry. A little bit there. That'll bring up 2nd and middle. As I said, Burleson on the small size, but great athlete, very shifty. Lunsford getting the play, coming back in as Burleson comes off. So we stand here with about 8 minutes left in the first quarter. No score yet. Hampton at the Trailblazer 26 with a 3rd down and 6. You can't help but feel if they went for it on their own 29, they'll definitely go for it here. They should be stopped. Lunsford gets about 2. That's going to bring up 3rd down and probably a short 3.
Inside the 25 brings up 4th down. 2 yards to go for a first.
Officially marked as 4th down and 3.
Number 25, Dalton Coyne.
In trots Dylan Trivet with the play. As I said earlier, they are going for it right here. Handoff. There is space, and he will get the 1st down. Levi Lunsford there. One thing about Levi Lunsford you have to say is when he gets tackled, it doesn't matter. He's always going to lean forward. He's got that body lean you like to look for. He is stout kid, hard to bring down. Only 5'9", but 210 pounds, and he likes the contact. Trivet back in that 3-back set. Handoff. That'll bring up 2nd down and 6. As the Bulldogs continue this march. Luke Scott there on the stop. Lunsford coming out as Burleson comes back in as they alternate between their 2 tailbacks. Burleson, the lone receiver. Coach Lunsford told me we'd see some of that as they continue in that 3-back set. There's your handoff. To Burleson. Sorry, Chance Point there at the X is your lone receiver. Burleson there with the carry. And that's going to bring up 1st and goal, I believe, from the 4-yard line. Good opening drive by these Bulldogs. Very close to the touchdown, maybe a yard short. 53 there for the Bulldogs. Austin Bentley will line up in that backfield and often provide that lead block as he did right there. Ball carrier there tripped up short. Will bring up 2nd and goal from the 2 as the Bulldogs stay in that power set. Handoff to Lunsford as he keeps the legs moving, waiting for the touchdown signal. That is a touchdown by your Hampton Bulldogs. So your new score now with 5.5 minutes left. Your Hampton Bulldogs 6, Daniel Boone nothing. That is the way that you set the tone for the evening as you are the Hampton Bulldogs. And I know a lot of times these Bulldogs will go for 2. And that's what they're doing right here. And their basic power run set. Handoff once again, I believe, Lunsford, and he's through. So your new score with 5.5 minutes left is the Bulldogs 8 and the Trailblazers 0. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll pay some bills and recognize our sponsors at this time. Once again, this is Ron Marvel for VP Productions.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
And welcome back here to J.C. Campbell Stadium. Number 3 for the Trailblazers, Cooper Stevenson, is back deep as we wait off the kick. Chance Point will take care of the kickoff tonight. Take care of all of your kickoffs tonight.
We had a good day. I was really good day.
As the Trailblazers prepare to receive the ball, a bit of a squib kick, and we've got a flag. I am believing that one of the Bulldogs jumped right there. You know, that's one thing that both these coaches talked to me in great length today, was just how important this game is going to be to play penalty-free. When you have two teams that like to run the football as much as these two teams do, you cannot get behind the chains. And I believe that was our first penalty of the game. Stevenson now moves up to the 25-yard line, prepared to receive as Chance Point prepares to kick off. Squib kick again, fielded there by number 11. As he looks to turn up, has got some space along the sideline, is finally brought down there by Dominique Burleson. That return there by the Trailblazers was Morgan Jones, or Brogan Jones. And that's going to set up the Trailblazers fairly deep in Bulldog territory. So that will bring up 1st and 10 at the Hampton Bulldog 23-yard line. You pass there. Luke Jenkins there to number 24. Let's get a name on number 24, Tyler Alford. Luke Jenkins again, this power team looking, got a man, nearly intercepted as it went through the hands of defenders, and the receiver almost caught that off of the, as that pass bounced off his hands. Trivet there providing the coverage. So that for your Trailblazers will bring up 3rd down and 6 for the Trailblazers. Handoff, quick pass, over the head. Now that ball is intercepted. And we got a return set up. Boy, if you're the Bulldogs early in this game, but you couldn't ask for a better start. Interception there by number 1, Jonathan Greenwell. And I'm going to tell you, folks, he was one defender away from taking that back to the house. So with 4:47 left here in the first quarter, the Bulldogs will take over after that turnover. I've got the privilege tonight to be standing next to Mike Lunsford as he's standing here with his headset on. And one thing that he just mentioned a minute ago was that their tight ends are getting beaten, so that will definitely be something to look at. Power set again, Trivet with the snap. Toss back. Not a bad gain there on 1st down. Give him about 3.5. Maybe closer to 4. So official, that'll bring up 2nd down and 6. from the Trailblazer or from the Bulldog 36. Inside handoff, looking for space. Good run right off a tackle. Lunsford, I believe, right there, bounced off of your defensive tackle and kept those legs churning. That was going to be enough for a Bulldog first down. Four minutes left here in the first quarter. Bulldogs trivet inside handoff. Inside tackle, number 12, Dominique Burleson. There. Good gain on that first down. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 5. As Chance Point comes in. Trivet back to the line. Daniel Boone stout that time, pushes the runner back, no gain. Maybe a loss of a yard.
Third down, 7 yards to go.
Let's say 3rd down and 7 right there as Lunsford comes back in. Alongside the quarterback, Dylan Trivet with the play. Chance Point, your single receiver. Once again, Trailblazers in single coverage. Handoff there to Lunsford. Keeps the legs moving. It's going to bring up 4th down and short. Probably looking at a long 2. As we stand at a little over 2 minutes here in the first quarter. Dalton Cloyd there for the Trailblazers on the stop. That'll bring up 4th down. And let's say a long 1.
2 yards to go.
With that carry right there, the Bulldogs crept into Trailblazer territory. Under 2 minutes here in the first quarter. Motion there by the pre-snap motion there quite a bit by the Trailblazers. Nonetheless, I think we've got another Bulldog first down. It is, in fact, another first down. That's the second fourth down. I'm sorry, the third 4th down conversion. They are 3 for 3 right now on these 4th down conversions. Trivet back in that power run set. Comes back looking for the pass. Airs it out. Chance Point wrestling with a guy and inside leverage there provided by number 21, Rylan Trout, as that ball was well defended. Both of them wrestling for position. No flag there. Kudos to the referee for letting them play. So after that incomplete, we're looking at 2nd down and 10 from the Trailblazer 47. As your fullback, Austin Bentley, trots off the field.
Timeout, Hampton.
Your Bulldogs will take a timeout. As they do, we'll take a break, acknowledge our important sponsors, and appreciate all of them by telling you score here with 1:28 left in the first quarter. Your Hampton Bulldogs 8, Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0.
Want to know who's hot on the music scene? Catch Backstage Pass with Tammy Barnett.
Back here at J.C. Campbell Stadium, and your Hampton Bulldogs up on your Trailblazers 88-0. Side handoff there to Lunsford. Pretty tough going right there. Maybe a yard and a half. That'll bring up 3rd down and long. We'll say 3rd down and 7. Hamlin there on the stop at the Trailblazer 44-yard line. Very aggressive Bulldog team so far. Not seen this yet from Hampton tonight as they line up in the shotgun. I believe this may be their Wildcat formation. Quarterback keeper, and that goes nowhere. It is swarmed and swarmed quickly. So that's going to bring up 4th and about 9. I see Chance Point coming in right now. So I'm guessing the Bulldogs are preparing to kick.
Number 11, Chance Point, back to punt.
He said he has one.
Okay.
21, Ryan Trout.
Trout back deep for the Trailblazers. There, your snap.
Back to receive.
Boy, I'm telling you, I thought he was stopped. He made a move. He's following his lead blocker all the way down to the Trailblazers' 11-yard line. Boy, I'm telling you, this Bulldog team tonight has come to play, and they're playing like they're got house money right now. So that will end your first quarter. Your score after 1, your Hampton Bulldogs 8, your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
Trevor with the snap. Lunsford with the carry. Another good carry. We talked tonight already about Lunsford's lean. Even when he's stopped, he'll still keep those legs churning and lean forward and get a couple yards. So this will bring up 3rd down and 2 from the Trailblazer 4. The Bulldogs needing 2 yards for the 1st and goal. Inside handoff. And I'm not sure about the number right there, but Lunsford was caught from behind and slung down. Edwards there with the tackle. You know, as quick as he was in the backfield, I'm not sure who he beat right there. This 4-4 stack by the Trailblazers. You have to believe there was a man lined in the gap right there and shot it well. So that's going to bring up 4th down and 3. And the Bulldogs, for the first time tonight, are going to be stopped. So that will be a turnover on downs, and your Trailblazers will take over from the 3-yard line of their own 3-yard line. Scott trotting in. When you take a look at these teams, you can appreciate the size difference on the offensive line, in particular between the Bulldogs and this Trailblazer team. But Hampton looks like they're every bit up for the challenge from this 5A school tonight. Oliver there on the stop. Reiner there on the carry. And that's going to bring up 2nd down and 8. Two receiver set, 1 receiver in motion. And what that did was that set up that receiver in motion, set up that sweep. But the Bulldogs had that just sniffed out very well. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8 for the Trailblazers as they are deep in the territory, in their territory. Stand here at about 9.5 minutes left here in the 2nd quarter. Not sure if there's a timeout, but the clock has not moved for the last 30 seconds. And that's why. The reason the clock was stopped is because there was a penalty on the Trailblazers for a false start. That penalty declined, bringing up 3rd down and 7 for the Hampton Bulldogs. And these Bulldog fans tonight are loud. Official timeout right there.
Timeout. Daniel Boone.
Timeout. I thought it was an official timeout, but it's actually a timeout by the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. They want to discuss this 3rd and long deep in their own territory.
It's now time for the VP playback. Let's go!
Daniel Boone right now has to feel as though their tires are just sort of slipping, and the Bulldogs want to keep this momentum right now, and boy, this 3rd down stop would be huge and would keep this crowd energized. Scott back for the pass. He's got a man open. Let's wait for the call, whether or not his feet were inbound. And that is no good. So deep in their territory, I'm sure this will be a punt from the Trailblazers. This will, in fact, Shrewsbury, number 99 to kick. Chance point. Came up. Short punt. Leave it alone. And that's exactly what the Bulldogs do. And they'll take over at midfield. Good starting position for your Hampton Bulldogs. Jake Davenport there, the first to touch.
1st and 10 Hampton.
As the Bulldogs have a 1st and 10 from their own 49. And as the old man said, when something's working, you stay with it. And that power run game tonight has been working very well for these Bulldogs. Hand off to Lunsford, finding holes and just keeping the legs turning. Number 11 there, Chance Point with the block there on the receiver. I'm not so sure he didn't get in the way of Lunsford right now. But regardless, that's going to bring up 2nd down and short. And boy, if you're the Bulldogs, that's exactly what you're looking for. Big gain on the first to make it manageable. It gives you an opportunity to take some chances. Lunsford right there should have enough for the 1st down. Let's wait for the mark.
Townsend Plumbing, 1st down.
Townsend right there with the carry. And that is, in fact, enough for the Bulldog 1st down. Dribble the handoff. Back to pass, and he's getting pressured. Just simply throws it away. Pressure there provided by a number 51, Luke Scott, the defensive lineman. Luke Scott at 6'6", 235 pounds. He does have some schools looking at him right now. I believed when I went on Huddle today and his Twitter account that VMI is one of the schools that's looking at him right now. So 2nd down and 10. Good run there by number 1, Jonathan Greenwell. 6 foot tall senior, recognized earlier tonight here on senior night. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 6. Lunsford trots back into the game. Chance Point stays in that single receiver set. Handoff to Lunsford, looking for room, and he's got it. He's got the 1st down and a lot more as he's brought down near the 20 of the Trailblazers by number 20, Mikey Ramirez.
Number 5, Gino Perico. First and 10 from the 16.
Gino Carrico right there on that lean block that sprung Lunsford. So that'll be a 1st down for your Bulldogs. 1st and 10 from the Trailblazer 16. Handoff Finding room, keeping the legs moving. Levi Lunsford with a good first down carry right there. 9 yards. That'll bring up 2nd down and 1. And this undersized Bulldog offensive line is just enforcing their will on this larger Trailblazer line right now. We've not seen this so far from the Bulldogs. I'll tell you one thing. Trailblazers finally make the shift in this 3-receiver set. That was simply a case there, I believe, from the Bulldogs to try to spread them out, that large interior line of the Trailblazers, to provide some room. But, folks, it worked. That's going to be a 1st down for your Hampton Bulldogs. And that'll be another timeout, as Coach Jenkins wants to talk about this. And I know how fired up Coach Jenkins can get, and I assure you he's not a happy man right now, because this defense is getting whooped.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
So welcome back with 5 minutes and 59 seconds left here in the second quarter. Kind of a surprise right now as the Bulldogs go into a 3-receiver set. Chance point out to your far left. Handoff to, I believe that was Lunsford right there. Not much going right there. That's going to bring up 2nd and goal from about the 7-yard line of the Trailblazers. One of the things that you see right here, because of that size from the Daniel Boone Trailblazers, when everything gets condensed down here in the end zone, it becomes so much more difficult for this Bulldog team to run. Some space there as he bounces off the tackle. That's going to put the ball probably around the 2-yard line of the Trailblazers.
5-yard gain by Lunsford, down at the 1.
Ball will officially be marked at the 1-yard line.
3rd down and
Third down and
goal.
goal. And I promise you, folks, from what we've seen from the Bulldogs tonight, I am fully assured if they get stopped here, they'll go for it again. Power back right there, handoff to Lunsford, and he meets a wall. A little bit of push there. It's going to be close. And there's your touchdown signal. He did not initially have it. Lunsford did not have it, but I believe Burleson got in his back and a couple other Bulldogs and simply pushed him in. So once again, Levi Lunsford there with the touchdown will bring up your new score. Hampton Bulldogs 14. And your Trailblazers from Daniel Boone 0 with 4 minutes and 51 seconds left here in the half.
Hampton will go for 2.
And the Bulldogs here will go for 2. Trivet. Ball tipped. And Carrico almost caught that off the Kareem.
Want to know who's hot on the music scene? Catch Backstage Pass with Tammy Barnett.
Be interested to see how many times Chance Point has attempted an extra point tonight. I'm guessing from what we've seen so far this evening, not very many. Stevenson will be back for your Trailblazers to receive. Here's your kickoff. Another squib kick, fielded well by the Trailblazers, but defended very well by your Bulldogs as well. But regardless, right there, that will give the Trailblazers a good field position at their own 42. Number 13 fielded that right there. Number 13, Landon Kirkpatrick, who broke down like an infielder with his top hand and brought that ball in. So Trailblazers come out looking to get something started as the Daniel Boone Trailblazers come out in a 4-receiver set, an inside handoff. Looked like something was cooking there for just a moment, but the Bulldogs swarmed very well for that. Burleson and Belcher there on your stop. I think everybody in the stadium right there was expecting a pass right there to your halfback draw, as it was. That netted them about 4 yards, so that'll bring up 2nd down and 6 from the Trailblazer 44. Scott looking for the pass. Waiting for a signal from the referee there. And Jenkins to Trout right there will bring up a 1st down for the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. Man in motion, inside handoff, played very well by your Bulldogs. Penetration there by Jonathan Greenwell.
Tripped up by Carrico, tackled by Bentley.
Carrico there as well
2nd down.
with the initial penetration will bring up 2nd down and 8 from your Trailblazers. Pass there, broke up well by Jonathan Greenwell. And boy, he laid out as far as his 6-foot-tall frame would allow him to, getting his hand in there at the last minute to break that pass up. Very athletic play there by Greenwell. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long with the ball on the 44-yard line of the Bulldogs. 3 minutes and 35 seconds left here in the game. Your score, your Hampton Bulldogs 14, your Trailblazers 0. Man in motion is number 13 for your Trailblazers. Little screen set up. Tackle missed there.
Tackle by Austin Bentley.
Austin Bentley there with your tackle.
4th down and 2.
But the Bulldogs had a man right there at the initial place that the reception took place. But your receiver made a shake and bake move and was able to get away.
Hayden Edwards on the reception out of the backfield.
Edwards there on the reception out of the backfield for the Trailblazers will bring up 4th down and 2. The Bulldog coach is asking for this crowd over here to stand up. And I believe they're stopped short. Bulldogs have stood up, and that will be a turnover on downs by the Trailblazers. And you know, I can't help but feel that these Daniel Boone Trailblazers right now are in a little bit of a shock. So out come your Hampton Bulldogs, led by Dylan Trivett. Lunsford, the very stout tailback in the tailback position in the power set, and he will receive the football. Not much going there, probably a gain of maybe 1. We'll bring up 2nd down and 9. So 2nd down and 9 for the Bulldogs from the Bulldog 38. Off trots Lunsford for a breather. Burleson back to receive the handoff. Oh, a little bit of a switch there. Caught the Trailblazers off guard. And I believe you're going to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty right there on the Trailblazers, which is going to tack on another 15 yards. The leader there, Dominique Burleson, as coach said, he's one of the leaders, pulled them back in the midst of that. And that is, in fact, an unsportsmanlike penalty on the Trailblazers. Face mask will take the ball all the way down to the 39-yard line of the Trailblazers.
1st and 10 at the Daniel Boone.
Counter right there caught the Trailblazers off guard. Will give the Bulldogs a 1st down Hand off to Burleson, looking for room, but it closed very quickly.
Pass to number 12, Burleson.
Burleson there with a gain of, we'll give him 2 yards. We'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Second down and 8 for the Bulldogs from the Trailblazer 37-yard line. One minute and 12 seconds left. You have to feel here at some point in time the Bulldogs are going to have to air the ball out, and yep, there it is. He's got a man. Oh, broken up at the last moment, but he had space right there. Trivett's pass to number 11 there, Chance Point. As Chance Point high pointed that ball well there.
3rd down and 8.
As your Bulldogs come to the line in that power set. Lunsford will receive the ball. No! Oh, I saw a flag came out. Jonathan Greenwell there on that little counter they've run a couple times.
Flag on the play.
And they run that play well. Boy, your attention, because of who Levi Lunsford in, goes completely to Levi Lunsford. Greenbell with a little hitch in his giddy up right now will come off to the sideline.
Harvey
Okay.
against our Bulldogs.
.49 seconds left here in the second half. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 11 for the Bulldogs with 49 seconds left. As Dominique Burleson comes in. Lunsford remains back in your tailback position in that power set. Hand off to Lunsford. Not much there.
Lunsford on the carry.
And it's beginning to look like these Bulldogs are going to be content to go into the half up 14-0.
4th down.
And they'll just let that clock tick all the way down.
Daniel Boone.
That will leave them 23 seconds left on the half.
That's a 2-0.
That's one thing that you could actually do if you want to do that time, and that would actually be really good.
Halftime.
If you'll go on and look at Coach T
All right.
and bring up some halftime scores.
All right.
So we're back after the break. 23 seconds left here in the half. Little pooch kick that is partially blocked. And, you know, I have to ask the question right there. Why was Dominique Burleson so close to the line for that kick? Why didn't they trot him back? Was that just to cause some confusion on the Trailblazers' part? But regardless, his closeness to the line led to a blocked punt off that pooch. So with 17 seconds left, that will give the Daniel Boone Trailblazers the ball at their own 38 with 17 seconds left. Scott back looking for the pass. Runs out of pressure, but then gets tackled after a gain, and he lost the football. Jenkins lost the football. Now the question becomes, with 9 seconds left, how aggressive are these Bulldogs going to come out and play this? You know, you have to say, a little bit surprised by this score, and you have to admire what the Bulldogs have done this first half. And good for them coming out in a 3-receiver set. Actually, my bad, 4-receiver set. Wilson back, airing it out, has got a man. And I'm sure the Bulldogs are going to call a timeout there, and they do with 2 seconds left. And what you have time here now with 2 seconds is time for the quarterback to go back, take whatever time the defensive line is allowing him to have and then take your shot for the end zone. So Burleson back once again in the shotgun as the Trailblazers send 5. And he almost came up with that. Chance point back there, high pointed that ball well, but just couldn't quite come up with it. With your score at half, the Hampton Bulldogs 14 and your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0. We're back in just a moment. Zion Riddick will join me at the half, and we'll share some scores from the area. Once again here at the half as we take a break, the Hampton Bulldogs 14, your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0.
I felt like our wedding was so much fun. Chris with Venture Productions did our ceremony, and he did all the music that we wanted, but you know, the reception's what everyone else usually remembers.
The new Mr. and Mrs. Zachary and Kara Fleener!
From the very beginning, it was so much fun. Our first dance, we didn't want to do a slow dance. We wanted to do something kind of fun and a little crazy. So we told Chris this, and he was able to make a remix for us so that we could have a crazy dance. And it was a lot of fun. Throughout the whole entire event, he was coming up with games and dances to get people out on the dance floor, and I was so excited because I felt like the entire time people were always up and dancing. There was never a moment where it was just quiet. The energy was great. Everybody was always happy and excited. Everyone was always laughing, and the whole entire process was just a lot of fun because there was so much going on the entire time. Because I told Chris I wanted everything with, you know, games and dancing and everything, and I felt like that's what I got.
Kara, 3, 2, 1, let it go! Oh!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing, and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is!
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Blazer Band.
all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
I'm going to have a guest color analyst with me for the second half. But what do you think of that first half there, Zion?
Hey, you know, Hampton's strategy was definitely they made a statement and to keep the football away from Boone, and they executed that perfectly, I feel like. And even the times that they did give Boone the possessions, you know, I mean, since Boone's just as much of a run team as Hampton is, and they didn't get the game going, therefore Hampton gets that advantage over them. And while time's still ticking, Hampton's still scoring.
You know, really, all things considering, I don't know that you could have dialed up a better first half for Hampton than what we saw. You know, I believe, and I've got some stats we'll go over here just in a minute, but when we talk about the stats, it's going to be total domination. Right. But, you know, one of the things that probably stood out to me more than anything else right there was the case of the Hampton Bulldogs going for fourth down there, and I believe they were actually 4 for 6 there on first down. Let's talk about Hampton there in the first half. 33 carries, 148 yards.
That's a Derrick Henry stat line right there.
That's about 5 yards per carry. You know, that's a good average. Your quarterback Trivet right there, 2 for 7, 52 yards. So total offense and even 200 yards for Hampton.
Right.
You know, if we can extrapolate that, and who knows how the first or second half will go. But that'd be 400 yards against a Daniel Boone Trailblazer team.
That's 9-0, 5-8.
That's 9-0, and defensively have shut down a lot of very good teams. Offensively for Daniel Boone in that first half, 6 of 11 for 22 yards. 22 yards rushing.
Right.
3 of 7 for 33 yards passing, so a total there of 55 yards in the first half. And I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised Daniel Boone has that many yards.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the way Hampton's playing out here tonight, they're just really dedicated. You know, it's senior night. You know, they're really dedicated. You know, and they're really just showing off that Bulldog passion for the sport.
And I think that's a good way to put it. Is they've come out here and they've shown a lot of pride. A lot of pride. Now, you know, we know Coach Jenkins well enough to know that he's going to make some adjustments. And, you know, I would expect that you may see 9 in the box. You know, you clearly saw an engage 8 there defensively by the Trailblazers, but you may see 9 or 10 in the box until they force them to do something else. Levi Lunsford there, 24 carries for 100 yards. Chance Point 1 for 34 on that 1 long carry. And I believe Chance also had that 1 reception for a lot of yards. So, Zion, we stand here at about 30 seconds left before the second half begins. Let's go ahead and take just a bit of a break, pay our sponsors. We'll be back in just a moment. Your halftime score here from J.C. Campbell Stadium, Hampton, Tennessee, the Bulldogs 14, Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0.
Kara, 3, 2, 1, let it go!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is.
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah.
And we're back here at J.C. Campbell Stadium at the beginning of our second half. As I said, I'm joined on color by Zion Riddick. Chance Point back to kick. Stevenson back to receive. And as we've seen all night long, short squib kick there, fielded well by number 8 of the Daniel Boone Trailblazer, Sam Witherspoon. So, Zion, what do you think the Trailblazers need to do here to get going?
What I think they need to do is I think they need to throw the football, come out aggressive, and, just try to just take over this game with the star power they got.
Yeah, they've got a size advantage, but you couldn't tell it in that first half. And the Bulldogs there continue that momentum from the first half, sniff that out well, and it goes nowhere. Matter of fact, loses about 8 yards.
Right, and when you look at that play, you think he's going to, do something with that ball, and he's just been going back, and it's kind of been the same storyline all night.
So that would bring up 2nd and about 18, I would guess, for the Trailblazers, and that's not the way that you write up the beginning of this first half if you're Jerry Jenkins. So 2nd and 15, 2-receiver set. Ball out quick there by Quarter. Oh! Big gain there after the big loss, and that's going to give the Trailblazers a first down.
That was a good play by Jenkins to Kirkpatrick right there. That's some momentum, you want Boone to see, you want Boone to keep going. They really needed that play just to give them that, hey, we can pound this team. You want to see more of that.
Yeah, and I don't know if the corner there expected the receiver to come to the inside, but he broke to the outside, and there was not much contained there.
Right.
So Trailblazers back. Scott there waiting for the snap. Or Jenkins, sorry. Rolls out to his left. He's got a receiver. Let's see what our call is right here.
Trout looked in bounds.
He's in bounds.
They're going to call it. Yeah, and this is as expected with Boone coming out aggressive, coming out with the passing. And to be honest, when you're down like this in the second half against a run-heavy team, I wouldn't be surprised if they just do this the rest of the night.
Well, that'll bring up first down and goal from the Bulldog 6. And he's going to walk into the end zone. Number 1 there, Jackson Young for the Trailblazers.
Looks like it's going back.
Oh, we do have a flag down. Good eye there, Zion. And that makes sense why that hole was so big. It was holding there on the Trailblazers.
And this is not how you want to. I mean, this is a good way to start off, but you can't afford penalties if you're Daniel Boone. You can't afford any of them.
And when I spoke to Coach Jenkins today, that's one of the things he said was he really felt as though in a game of this nature that with two teams that like to run the football, keeping penalties down to a minimum would be one of the marks of a team that was going to come out ahead tonight. So that backs them all the way up to the Bulldog 15. I think we just saw that play, and it's run again, but this time the Bulldogs see it, and they respond to it well. Number 72 there, Devin Ward, in on the tackle.
And Young he had nowhere to go. I mean, just a sea of blue there, and that's not what you want to see when you're Boone.
So 10 minutes and 50 seconds left here in the third quarter. That'll bring up 2nd and goal at the 13.
Looks like we got a timeout here.
Yeah, the Bulldogs want to talk about it for a moment. You just feel like this is a pivotal part in the game.
Right.
You stand here with the Bulldogs, or the Bulldogs up by 14, and Trailblazers desperately trying to get back into this game.
Right.
So we'll take a break right here on the timeout. Recognize our sponsors and tell you your score here with 10:45. The Bulldogs 14, the Daniel Boone Trailblazers 0.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
And we're back. Daniel Boone Trailblazers facing 2nd down and 13. 2nd down and goal, that is, from the 13-yard line. Jenkins back. Has a receiver, but overthrows him. There was a little outside post right there, intended by Kirkpatrick, and just simply overthrew his man.
You really, you're in a 3rd down situation. you're at a position where you just got to throw it again. The throwing game's been a little weak all night for Boone. You just got to see, regroup, come out this play and try to punch it in there. You got a really good kicker in Shrewsbury, so I wouldn't mind taking a 3 here.
Jenkins back, waiting to snap. Single back off his left shoulder. He's back looking for a receiver. Avoids the pressure. And great hands there by number 8, Sam Witherspoon. And, good coverage right there, but kudos.
I think that was Jake Davenport.
Jake Davenport, yeah, there. Contested pass, good coverage.
And
just stuck those hands out and stuck that ball. Walked into the end zone.
If you're Boone, that's exactly what you needed. That's exactly was the plan. Come out here, throw it down their throat. They're not used to seeing the stuff like that, sets like that. And to be honest, if I'm Boone, I'm doing that the rest of the night.
So your new score here with 10:33 left in the third quarter. Your Hampton Bulldogs 14, the Daniel Boone Trailblazers 7.
Kara, 3, 2, 1, let it go! Oh!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is.
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah.
So Shrewsbury, after the good extra point, one of the best kickers in the Northeast Tennessee area, with a deep kick, and they will take from the 1-yard line. Looking for a lane, and gets it back to what would have been the original line of scrimmage near the 25. Chance point there on the return.
Now, for the game plan for Boone, it's been a weak defensive night all night. You got to do heavy aggressive. You see that big line in front of you. It's really what comes down to who wants it more right now.
And that's one of the things you look at right here, Zion, as Hampton comes out, is you'll see the size difference between the two lines.
Right.
But unfortunately for tonight, the Trailblazers have not been able to take advantage of that size difference much. Lunsford there on a good carry of about 4 to start off this series of downs for the Bulldogs. At the very least, if you're Hampton, you want a couple first downs.
Right.
So number 18, trotting in. There, your quarterback, Dylan Trivett, to the line after he gets the play. The Bulldogs will stay into this power run formation. Handoff once again, and boy, Lunsford meets a wall right there. Gets a little bit of a body lean, and that will bring up third down and medium.
If you're Daniel Boone right now, you want to see stuff like this. You want to see, if they're going to give you that run, don't give them anything but a yard. You want to have it to where it's a 4th and long situation, and they have no choice to punt because he's an aggressive 4th down taker.
So Daniel Boone lines up with 7 on the line. And that's going to be very close. I believe he's going to be about a yard short of the first down. Good run there once again by Lunsford. And as we've seen, I fully expect, you talked about this just a moment ago, this is going to bring up a very makeable 4th down. And even though they're deep in their own territory, we've seen them go for it all night long, and that's the expectation tonight.
And they're going for it here. And you can just feel the intensity in this crowd and the pride they have for this score right here.
Austin Bentley there with the push. And he's got the first down and then some. The ball will be marked at the Hampton Bulldog 37-yard line.
And you know, these dogs out here, man, they're fighting like dogs out here.
Yeah.
Coming in this game, you would have never expected it to be 14-7 Hampton with 8:22 to go in the third quarter. I mean, it's been an outstanding job from what they've been doing.
I think you've got to tip your hat some to your coaches tonight,
Right.
too, and showing the level of trust and faith in this team time after time to let them take the fourth down.
Right.
High snap right there. And, you know, I have to believe after that high snap, that sort of upset the timing of that play as Lunsford's tackled for a 3-yard loss.
Now they're back a little bit on a second down. You're probably going to look at either. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with the run game again because it's been working all night. You know, it's a second down, but what you don't want any more negative yards.
Lots of times people will see that high snap and they'll be like, "Oh, well, the quarterback got it." Well, you know, that shouldn't have any effect. The reality of it is you've got a tailback there in Lunsford,
Right.
who's already moving, and so that up-down motion takes a half a second away, and it
Right.
takes his timing away, and it loses his momentum as he approaches the line.
Right.
Lunsford again with the ball, and he's got some space. And let me tell you what that does right there, Zion. That brings up a very makeable third down.
Right. Now you're getting into Boone territory. Your third down, your 3rd and 7, and the coaches are not afraid of the 4th down. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go on it on 4th or if they just go ahead and get it on this 3rd because they've been nearly perfect on 3rd and 4th downs tonight.
Trivet under center in that power eye. Good hold. And there goes Lunsford all the way into Daniel Boone Trailblazer territory down to the 42-yard line. And you know, one thing that I always heard Coach Ryder say was even if they know it's coming, they still have to stop it.
Right. And right now it's just been all Bulldogs. I mean, Boone's defense has not been Boone defense that we've seen all year.
Yep. So Bentley back there in that fullback in that power set. And there's your change of pace, Zion, as Burleson takes the ball all the way down to the 25-yard line of the Trailblazers.
Burleson, there's that speed of his. You know, Lunsford, he's that bulldozer back, and then you get that elusiveness from Burleson, and you just don't want to see being the away team in Daniel Boone in a position like this.
I'm going to tell you right there, Devin Ward, right there, your tackle, set that gap and push the defender out enough to set up that hole.
Want to know who's hot on the music scene? Catch Backstage Pass with Tammy Barnett.
Trivet under center, hand off to Lunsford, and like a pinball, he bounces off the defender. A defensive end there from the Daniel Boone Trailblazers did a good job of penetration, upset that gap.
He got a little. I mean, he had the hole. It just closed in real fast. That's what you want to do if you're Boone right now. You know, just close in those gaps. Just play your role. You know, this is a simple offense. All you got to do is just play your gaps, plug the gaps, and cause a disruption.
Bulldogs continue that power set. Trivet skips the ball in there.
Trivet looks like he's shaking up on that play.
Yeah, penetration there on the backside caused that ball to go low.
Big loss for Bulldogs. This is a real big loss. Looks like he's going to stand.
Yeah, I think he's going to give a go of it. Showing some toughness right there. I think he had a defender at his ankle.
Right.
That's what caused the pass to skip in. So that's going to bring down a key 4th down and 8 for your Bulldogs as they come out in 3 receiver set. We've only seen this a handful of times tonight. Penetration from the side. Better get rid of it. And Daniel Boone comes to play
And
on that down.
Over on downs. You can see Trivet is shaking up on that play. He is not feeling good. Man, has he been a trooper tonight?
Luke Scott there with the penetration. We've called his name several times tonight at backstep. That takes the ball all the way to the Bulldog 41 where the Trailblazers will take over. And 1st and 10 for the Trailblazers.
And from the Trailblazers, this is defense did their part. This is another great situation to just throw it down their throats and get it down the field as fast as possible, as quick as possible. But you want to do it with strategy.
Single receiver on both sides. Hand off to number 1. Pretty good coverage right there. Jackson Young with the toss. A house of Bulldogs there off that defensively came up to make the stop there. So that'll bring up officially no gain, I believe, on that. Maybe a loss of a yard and a half, actually. That'll bring up 2nd down and 11 with 5:03 left here in the 3rd quarter as the ball gets pushed back to the Trailblazer 40. Snap back looking for a man. Oh, nearly picked. It is picked off. Waiting to see a number was there. Was that Lunsford right there?
I believe that was.
Lunsford there, and the Bulldogs gained momentum right back as you felt the tide starting to change. Actually, it was number 5, Gino Carrico, whose name we've called a bunch tonight. I thought that was Lunsford. But just as you started to feel the Trailblazers start to get some momentum,
it gets taken away, just like that.
Taken away by the Bulldogs. Yep.
And, you see Trivet, he plays both ways of the ball, and he was out on that defensive possession, and they still made it work. He's out there back at quarterback.
Yeah, tough young man right there. And that little counter that we've seen, you get the feeling right there. We're standing here next to the Mike Lunsford, longtime coach here at Hampton, and I've got a feeling in listening to the coaching staff up here that Gino turned that a lot wider than what he was supposed to turn it.
Right.
Either that or that's probably a
He had a lot of room.
Yeah,
he had a lot of room
that's probably a 7 dive or something along those lines in that gap, and he just didn't follow the block.
Right. And if you're Boone, that's a good situation, when they mess up like that, because they need everything that they can get right now.
So that'll bring up 2nd down 11. We'll get back some of that for the Bulldogs as they take it down near the 31-yard line of the Trailblazers.
And you see
gain there by Lunsford of 5 yards. Go ahead, Zion.
You see Trivet over there, he's trying to work things out, the kinks out. He's a trooper over there, a little slow on that. I believe it's that left side, that left leg.
But what that does right there is it brings up a 3rd down and a very makeable 3rd and 5 from the 30 of the Trailblazers. Burleson will come back into that power formation as he tries to wriggle. That's going to bring up 4th down, and we'll say 3.
He was stuffed. Just a whole sea of white right there. That was a great job by Daniel Boone. It's another 4th down situation. They've been here all night. Who's going to take advantage of this situation tonight?
I believe Luke Scott right there on the tackle. We've called his name a lot tonight too.
Right.
You have to believe with that size and that ability to fill holes that you got some schools looking at him. Matter of fact, I think VMI was one of the schools that is actually looking at him right now.
A little movement. A timeout.
Timeout Bulldogs right there with 3 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. We'll go ahead and take a break and give you your score with 3 minutes left. Your Hampton Bulldogs 14, your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 7.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
So we're back here at J.C. Campbell Stadium. 3 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Big 4th down here, Zion. 4th and 3 for the Bulldogs.
What I would do on this play, I haven't seen a little trick action tonight. Might as well throw them off and give them something.
Well, they have been aggressive. I don't know if they'll be that aggressive tonight. That's a different formation that we've seen tonight. Boy, that bobble snap right there.
And it looks like that was going to be a wildcat.
And
Burleson. So, something different.
Yeah, 21 is running down the field with the ball right there. That's Trout, but a ball was called down there as Trivet was sacked.
And if I'm Boone right now, you know, you got to block out the noise and just play football. That's really all you can do right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out in a spread, might do a few sweeps. I would challenge the center of the field. That's been going for them all night.
So to your point, Zion, 3 receiver set right here.
And there we go.
A little wheel route there. And played very well by your Bulldogs.
I mean, and again, nothing's just been working with this Daniel Boone offense. And this is not the powerhouse, you know, Daniel Boone offense that's been putting up tremendous numbers all year.
Burleson and Oliver there on the stop, landing Kirkpatrick. And you know, when I first saw him get the ball, Zion, I thought he had space, but boy, they closed quick. So that is going to bring up 2nd down and officially a loss of 1 on that. So 2nd down and 11 as the receiver in motion goes to the far left. Inside handoff, all tackles, and he's got some space.
He's gone.
And boy, I was a little bit like you. I thought he did have that. They corralled him fairly quickly, but that will be a 1st down for your Daniel Boone Trailblazers.
What Hampton's been doing real good at tonight is just simplifying the game of football.
Yep.
You know, a lot of teams, whenever you're a big 5A school, you're not used to just seeing simplified football, and that's what Hampton's been doing great at all night.
So that'll bring up 1st down for your Daniel Boone Trailblazers. There's your toss to your left. Oh, a missed tackle there. Keeps moving. Number 33 there for the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. Dedrick.
You know, that's just showing some of that speed he has. You know, one of those skilled guys for Boone. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep doing, you know, some trickery like that.
Well, now let's just remember, too, we're late here in the 3rd quarter. You got a roster size of about 45 for the Bulldogs and about 75 for the Trailblazers. And some of that wear and tear begins to creep in on the smaller roster.
Right.
Jenkins back, waiting to snap. 2 receiver set, 1 on your right, 1 on your left. Inside handoff tackles, and
yeah,
the Trailblazers now are starting to pick up momentum and gain yards in chunks.
You're starting to see this Bulldog team, you know, get a little rusty here. And you know, the strength in numbers in Boone with a 75-man roster is really coming in handy right now.
And you know, I'm a little bit surprised we've not called Aiden Reiner's name a little bit more tonight. It's been really a pretty big dosage of number 1 there, Jackson Young for the Trailblazers.
Right.
Pistol here for Trailblazers. Handoff once again to Young, and boy, he is stuck. And I mean, he is stuck
nowhere.
Hard. Gino Carrico there on the stick, and that's the kind of hit right there. You wake up in the morning, you're looking for the aspirin.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to bring up 1st and 10. No, I'm sorry, 2nd and 10. Officially no gain on that from the Bulldog 40. As the clock continues to snap down, continues to tick down, and that's going to bring an end to the 3rd quarter. Right. Your score after 3, your Hampton Bulldogs 14, your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 7. We'll be back in just a moment with the finish of what's been a good game tonight here from J.C. Campbell Stadium in Hampton, Tennessee.
Want to know who's hot on the music scene? Catch Backstage Pass with Tammy Barnett.
So here we are beginning of the fourth quarter. Jenkins back with the pass and
Just overthrew him.
yeah, good air into that ball, but just simply overthrew his intended receiver.
A play like that was there.
Oh yeah, he had space. He probably had a good 2 yards on his receiver.
You know, if I'm Boone, I'm still going to do plays like that. That aggressive throw was a smart first down. You know, he just didn't connect on it.
Third down and 10 here for the Trailblazers. Jenkins looking for a receiver. He's got one. Broken tackle and all the way down to the Hampton Bulldogs 20. Boy, that's a big conversion right there.
And if you're Coach Jennings right now, how are you going to respond to that? You know, you got the momentum, and whenever they get momentum, Hampton has been taking it away consistently tonight. Keep that momentum and just strive, you know, to just do better.
And we've seen that several times now, Zion, that contested receiver coming up with the ball for Daniel Boone. That's
right.
Number 9 there, Davenport, the 6'3" receiver. Another receiver out here open. Single coverage there, and your defender did well to cover that. I believe that's Tribbett out there in single coverage. He wrapped up, broke down, as a corner has to do. So that's going to bring up second down and about 5 from the 15-yard line of the Bulldogs.
You know, you got a tight trips left. Low motion.
You sweep off that motion to get the receiver out there. And well covered by the Bulldogs there.
I mean, the hole was there, but it just closes up so fast, and that's what Boone's been struggling with all night.
And you know, as your defensive end there, that's exactly what you want to do, is you want to stretch that out and just force them to continue to go towards the sideline.
Because when you do that as a defensive end, you're going to get your corner, your outside linebacker, and your safety there all at once, and you essentially put them in a box.
So third down and 2 here from the 13-yard line of the Bulldogs. 10 minutes left here in the fourth.
Honestly, if you guys have a third camera, just get some more
Timeout. Daniel Boone, Coach Jenkins wants to talk about it for just a moment. As they take their timeout, we'll take a timeout too as well to tell you our score with 10 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. The Daniel Boone Trailblazers continue to trail the Hampton Bulldogs 14-7. We'll be back in just a moment.
Kara, 3, 2, 1, let it go! Oh!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is.
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah.
So Zion is going to bring up a key third down and short for your Trailblazers. As we slowly have seen the ebb and flow of this game, the momentum shift towards the Trailblazers. Here they'll have the ball at the 13-yard line of the Bulldogs.
Right.
Jenkins looking for a pass. He's got a man out there.
Good cutback.
On the far side. He's tackled fairly quickly.
Stopped short.
We're waiting for indication, and I believe that's going to bring up, waiting for the spot, that's going to bring up first and goal from the Trailblazers.
You know, a good thing that Hampton has also should be credited is that Shrewsbury is a great kicker, and they have not been putting him in field goal range all night.
This ball got marked all the way down. I know it doesn't seem like it, but the ball was marked all the way down to the first yard, the 1 yard line.
Trickery. You got
and
it.
let's see what the call is. Waiting for a signal. And I can tell by the reaction of Daniel Boone fans that was a touchdown by the Trailblazers. So we may be looking at pending an extra point by Shrewsbury. We've talked about how good he is.
Right.
With 9.5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, we may be looking at a tied ball game.
Right. And you know, if you're Boone right now, you got to get another stop. The defense is the most important thing right now if you're Boone.
Big extra point right here.
You got it.
But as we've talked about just how good of a kicker Shrewsbury is, he puts it through the uprights, and we've got a new score. 14-14, we're all tied with 9 minutes left. And this has been a dandy of a game tonight. We thought it had the makings of it if the Bulldogs could hang in.
Right.
And the script of this game has been different than what we thought it was, but here we are with a tied game at 9:30 left. And I think it's incredibly, I can't understate this enough, Zion, just how important it is right now for these Hampton Bulldogs to answer that drive.
Right. And if you're Hampton, I just keep doing what I've been doing all night.
Well, you know, if we go back and we look at their last couple drives, really it's been poor execution that has caused those drives to kind of falter.
Right.
You had 2 bad snaps there, both bad snaps forcing them to lose serious yardage. The last bad snap, of course, on 4th down, turned the ball over to Daniel Boone.
I think a lot of that is due to the exhaustion of this team right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing that you say that, one thing, when a team begins to get tired, lots of times the focus goes. You know, I think for both teams tonight, I don't know that we've seen any injuries, so that's a good thing for both teams, particularly for Hampton, who has an undersized roster. So Shrewsbury here with the kick, deep. And boy, Zion, he's got a leg, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I know, too, and looking at his Twitter account today, he's got some schools looking at him as well.
One of the best kickers in the state. I got to give hats off to him. Shrewsbury.
So your Hampton Bulldogs will take over at your 25-yard line. Or I'm sorry, at your 20 of at their own 20. Trivet back. Good little tough run there by Lunsford.
That's just Lunsford, you know, that willpower, that determination he still has.
Yeah.
Those wheels just keep going. Hard to stop that guy.
So, you know, right now here with approaching 8 minutes here in the fourth quarter, it's so important for the Bulldogs that they keep ahead of the chains and no 3rd and long. So 2nd down and 4 right now. We'll call it 4, a long 4 for the Bulldogs. And I think, if I saw that correctly, well, let's wait. I initially thought it was the Trailblazers, but this may be against the Bulldogs. And that's what it is. False start against the Bulldogs, and that's going to march them back. And you and I just talked a minute ago about staying and head of the chains, and that's going to put them behind the chains.
Right, and this second half, you can tell that the health bar meter has gone a lot down for Hampton.
Yeah. So Lunsford once again looking for space. Boy, and just wriggles free from the tackler.
And he gets it.
And that will give the Bulldogs a 1st down. Boy, he's like a bowling ball.
I know. He's bouncing guys off, and he's just that running back that a team like Hampton needs right now. Just wearing down this defense, wearing out the clock, try to get a late score, but don't want to score too early where
I'll tell you something about Lunsford that Coach Lunsford told me in just a minute about him. Look at Hampton step up and just push. So, you know, we were talking about their health meter.
Right.
That stamina bar may have just shot up a little bit right there.
That grit and determination that the Bulldogs have shown tonight, this momentum. I mean, hats off to the line, to the dedication and everything that Hampton's been that's been doing well.
So to bring up 2nd down and short. Hand off to Lusford again, who they trust, and he just continues to churn those legs and get yards in chunks. You know, one of the things that Coach Lunsford told me is, you know, he may not be one of the most athletic kids, but he's the hardest working kid on this field. He will simply not be outworked, and you see that time and time again.
And if you're, I mean, they're playing their role perfectly.
32 has made 107 tackles. He's a play.
107 tackles.
It's now time for the VP Playback. Let's go!
So there's your snap. They continue to ride the Cadillac there in Lunsford. And boy, there was a reaction like the ball came loose.
That was stuffed.
But regardless, if it did come loose, the Bulldogs got it back. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 9. And you know, there's nothing the Bulldogs would like better than to methodically march down this field,
get a touchdown,
and into true timeouts.
I mean, you're in a really good situation right now. 14-14, you have the ball. 6:55 to go. Let's roll, baby.
There's that lean by Lunsford. That's going to bring up 3rd and medium as the clock continues to tick at about 6.5 left in this game.
And the strategy for Hampton is that, you know, they're going to slow this, they're going to run this clock down, and they're also going to get their players, you know, give them some rest as this clock is running down, which is a key factor for Hampton right now to stay in this ball game.
And wisely, the Bulldogs do exactly what you would expect them to and let this shot clock go all the way down to 10 seconds as they approach the line. Power football all night long for the Bulldogs, as we've seen. There's your snap. And there's that little counter play that we've seen all night long. As the Bulldogs take it all the way down to the 35-yard line of the Trailblazers. Jonathan Greenwell, who we've called several times tonight. Boy, you know, it's an odd time of the year for cramps, though. I almost feel like that was something different.
Yeah, he looks shaken up on that play.
Yeah.
He's going straight now. That's a big loss for him.
When he bent over and he grabbed his toes, you know, that looks like a cramp. But regardless, that's going to bring up 1st and 10 for your Bulldogs at the Trailblazer 35. 5:40 left in this game. Good handoff. Lunsford continues to turn and spin.
And there
as he takes the ball all the way down to the 30-yard line.
He's just been taking over the night, and he's just wearing down this Boone defense. And you can tell the emotion Hampton has right now. Everything is just going for their way.
Now, you know,
I spoke too fast.
This is something, if you're a Bulldogs fan, that will cause you to pull out your hair. Because for one thing, it stops the clock. That's all the way down to 5 minutes now. And it also puts them behind the chains after a good run. So you'll be looking at 2nd down and a long 10 right here instead of 2nd and medium.
Boy, if I'm Luke Jenkins on that sideline for Boone, I'd be getting my squad ready.
Oh, yeah. There's your handoff to Lunsford. Lunsford with a hole.
Lunsford, he has a big hole.
Lunsford all the way down to the 25-yard line, and that will be another 1st down for the Hampton Bulldogs.
And if you're Hampton, that's what you want to see. You know, how are you going to respond after that offensive play? As much as they've been back, you know, Hampton still find a way to just put themselves in there.
No hurry here by the Bulldogs. At least I hope for their sake there's no hurry. That power formation that they've used all night long as the play clock ticks under 10 seconds. Handoff again to Lunsford. And we talked about that tonight. When you got a Cadillac, when you have a Cadillac, you keep driving until the wheels fall off. And Lunsford has showed that his wheels are not going anywhere tonight.
Oh yeah. You can tell he wants it.
So that's going to bring up 2nd down and 5 as Jonathan Greenwell comes back into the game. Ball marked down at the Trailblazer 20-yard line with 3.5 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
Another first down, Lunsford.
Lunsford continues to run and grind.
He's going.
All the way down to the 5-yard line of the Trailblazers.
In the red zone. Lunsford doing it again. And you know, this crowd is on their feet. They are ready to go.
So that's going to bring up 1st and goal from the 5. Now, the one thing that we've seen, the Bulldogs have struggled a little bit with this tonight, with this big defensive line by
pushing in the end zone.
Yeah. Maybe a yard right there. He'll spot it at about the 2.5-yard line.
All right. Hampton's in a great situation right now. Just keep running down that clock. You know, let it get to 2 minutes.
Well, you know, you say that. We watched Trivet just a minute ago as I was watching the clock. He snapped it with about 19 seconds left, and you can't do that in a game.
Right. Oh no.
You have to let it drain.
Especially against this Boone team.
There's your snap. Lunsford off tackle, keeping the moving, waiting for a sign. There's your touchdown by the Hampton Bulldogs as they regain the lead, pending what I would expect to be a 2-point conversion coming up. But your new score with 2 minutes and 27 seconds left is your Hampton Bulldogs 20, your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 14.
If you're Daniel Boone, how are you going to respond to this? You know Bulldogs are going for 2. If they can get this 2-point conversion, it's going to make things a lot harder on this Boone team. Oh, he didn't get it.
Now the question becomes, does that come back to bite him with 2 minutes and a half left in this game? You know, right there, I think what we saw out of Trivet was he rushed that pass a little bit.
Right.
He had time. Really, if you set your feet, you complete that 2-point conversion.
If you're Boone, this is, believe it or not, kind of a good situation because they didn't run down the clock as much as you would have thought. And Boone's shown tonight that they can throw the ball downfield. And you got a good kicker in Shrewsbury. Just march the field, get a touchdown, get the field goal, and get back home.
If you're keeping up, too, and you look over the scoreboard, I believe Daniel Boone has all 3 of their timeouts
They
left.
do. That's also a key factor. That's real big.
So if you're Coach Lunsford, you stand up, you're talking your defense right now, and you're just saying, hey, guys, I need one more stop out of you tonight.
Right. One more stop.
And regardless of the outcome of this game, you know, you've got to tip your hats to these Hampton Bulldogs for their grit and determination against a 2A school here playing a 5A school. By the way, the 5th-ranked 5A school in the state of Tennessee.
And you know,
that's fine.
You know, if you're Boone right here, you got it. You have to score a touchdown. You don't want to be in a situation in a 3rd and long at all. Oh, good field position.
Yep. Oh, I was going to say good upfield tackle, but then Burleson comes back.
And that looks like Josh Sweeney on that tackle. He's fired up, number 21. That's the Elizabethan boy right there.
Boys, you can just see the excitement on the sideline for the Hampton Bulldogs. They're starting to feel it, but you know what? 2 minutes and 18 seconds is a lifetime.
Right, and you can see this team is fired up. Hampton is fired up.
Here's your issue with 2 minutes and 18 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. They don't have to go and pass, even though they do come out with a 4-receiver set. Low snap there. They got a man open, though. And boy, big first down right there.
First down, right. Got out of bounds. You know, there's 209.
A flag there because he looked like he was quite a bit out of bounds when that hit took place, but no flag.
You know, you want to throw it to the side, good clean football.
Yep.
They've been weak throwing it, you know, near the out of bounds all night, though.
So after that good gain, the Trailblazers come back out now in Bulldog territory all the way down to the 37-yard line of the Bulldogs. Jenkins back looking for his receivers. We'll just keep it.
Go out of bounds.
And get good yardage.
Right.
Out of bounds stops the clock.
About 2:01 left.
That was actually a loss of 2 yards right there, Zion. That's going to bring up 2nd down and long.
You don't want to be in this situation, especially being in the dog pound.
So for your Trailblazers, that'll bring up 2nd down and 11 to be exact from the 40-yard line of the Bulldogs. 4 receiver set once again. Jenkins back looking for a receiver. He's got a man wide open.
He's got a man. He's got a man.
And we talked about time just a minute ago.
Right.
They scored in 26 seconds.
And you know, that ties this game.
Yep.
Hampton doesn't have a kicker. They're going to have to go back and drive all the way down. And they've been weak throwing the ball all night. Shrewsbury has to make this kick.
Shrewsbury here for the lead. High snap, but the ball gets down. I believe it's good. We do have a flag down.
It's a flag.
It is against Daniel Boone, so let's see just how good of a leg Shrewsbury has right here. That is going to back him up.
Big flag on the Trailblazers right here.
You know, as good as his leg is, I don't think that 5 yards probably will make all that much difference, but you never know.
Oh, I feel like you're icing the kicker, Ron.
Shrewsbury back. There's your kick. And I believe that's good. And it is. And for the first time tonight, with 1:54 left, the Trailblazers have a lead.
For all your heating and cooling needs, call Kevin Ward, owner of Ward's Heat and Air, residential and commercial, licensed and insured. Call Ward's Heat and Air at 423-213-6579.
So Shrewsbury, who made that extended extra point just a moment ago, will line up here for the kickoff. Zion, I think he's kicked every one through the back of the end zone this night. Let's see if that continues right here. And sure enough,
looks like it does. Wow.
Shrewsbury has legs for days. So your Hampton Bulldogs now with 1:54. And you know, Zion, we've been on the crew this year and another broadcast company, but we've seen some dandies.
Oh yeah.
This year, particularly the last couple of weeks, but this one's as good as anyone that we've seen this year.
This is for sure. And you know, this might be the battle of who has bragging rights over East Tennessee tonight.
I think Greenville and Dobbins Bennett might have a little say about that. But
you're right.
Trivett gets sacked.
And that was a big hit.
And that was from his blind side, Zion, and I don't believe he ever saw that.
Tackle. And you know, in the NFL, the second highest paid player is that left tackle. That's a big player.
And the clock continues to tick. 1:33 left here.
Right.
And you know, one of the things that Coach Lunsford talked about was how playing better competition prepares you for the playoffs. And he's right, but you do not want to get one of your main contributors injured in this game.
Took that hit like a champ. Oh, this is bad.
Just throws it away out of bounds.
That was probably the best thing for him to do.
Not a halfback pass there. You know, he actually had a receiver going down the sideline, but when you got that much pressure coming in your face, it's hard to set your feet. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10 with 1:08 left in this game. As the Bulldogs have it at their own
looks like about
8-yard line. No, you may be right. Probably closer to the 12. Trivett back with a 4-receiver set. First time we've seen this tonight from the Bulldogs.
Oh, no.
And the pressure comes, and the Trailblazers get him again.
And he's hurt. He took another one. Trivett's managed to getting up, man. You don't want to go in the playoffs with a hurt Trivett.
Timeout, Hampton Bulldogs with 1:02 left in this game. Ball now marked all the way back at the 8-yard line, which means this will be a 4th down and about 22.
You know, Boone's finally showing that force on that D-line in these pass plays right here. You know, that quickness that we haven't been able to really see all night with that inside gap run.
So while they take the timeout, we'll take a timeout too, acknowledge our sponsors, and we'll be back right here in just a moment with VP Productions. This is Ron Marvel and Zion Riddick.
It's now time for the VP Playback. Let's go!
So with 1:02 left here in the 4th quarter and your Hampton Bulldogs down by a single point to the Daniel Boone Trailblazers, we'll see if they can dial up a miracle right here on 4th down. Rolls out to his right, looking for a receiver. Uncorks the ball and just overthrows everybody. Your chance point there, probably, or Burleson there, your closest receiver. And that's going to be a turnover on downs to the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. And let's just see as they come out with 53 seconds.
Right.
If they'll, I'm not sure if the Bulldogs have one timeout left or they're out. But just looking here at the staff from the Bulldogs, have they been up in the tower with us this evening? They're kind of conceding this game from what I've seen so far.
And you know, if you're Hampton, this game really doesn't mean anything. This is a test.
Yep.
You know, regroup for the playoffs because that's all that matters. You know, this is definitely a state championship contender.
And victory formation right there. And, you know, let me just say this. As the clock continues to tick, a lot of class there right now.
Right.
And a bit of a tip of a hat to the Hampton Bulldogs tonight and their efforts as they go into victory formation and don't try to score that extra touchdown.
You mean Boone?
From Daniel Boone.
All right.
And I'd say one more snap here, we'll get it. And that will, in fact, be your ball game. What a game we had here tonight. Your final score here from J.C. Campbell in a dandy. Your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 21, your Hampton Bulldogs 20. We'll pause for just a moment, take a break, pay some bills, and we're back in just a minute to close this one out.
Tara, 3, 2, 1, let it go!
I would recommend Chris with Venture Productions because he really is a fun DJ. He is an actual good DJ. He plays the music you want. He interacts with the crowd. He's outgoing and
stand right here.
I feel like Chris is very professional with all of his clients that he works for, and he gave me a day that I'll always remember.
Oh, there it is!
It's the moment you've been waiting all your life. It's your wedding day. Yeah.
Well, this is quite the game we've witnessed here tonight. A bit of a shock. You know, we're talking about the 5th-ranked 5A team in the state of Tennessee against the 2nd-ranked team, 2A in the state of Tennessee. We thought this was going to be a dandy, but, you know, I think anybody who follows football in East Tennessee would have expected probably about a 14 to 20-point win from these Trailblazers tonight. But, boy, Hampton just hung tight.
They really
did. Really took a hold of this game in the early part, and just really kudos to both teams, Daniel Boone for battling back and Hampton
for
playing well.
If I'm Boone right now, I'm not feeling too good about this win.
Yeah.
I mean, storming the field, I wouldn't be doing that because when you made a statement all year and to come out to play like that, and just to escape one. I mean, I wouldn't handle this lightly.
And meanwhile, for the Hampton Bulldogs, this is something to build off. Now you hope, boy, Trivet took some damage tonight and took some big hits, especially there in that last series. But as long as they get out of here tonight, injury-free
and healthy,
it's a win for the Bulldogs. Our player of the game tonight, even then a losing cause, to me, Lunsford, without a doubt, is your player of the game. We'd have to go back and look. I would assume the kid tonight against this Daniel Boone team probably has about 170 yards rushing.
Oh yeah. He's probably been Daniel Boone's toughest running back all year.
Yep.
Between him and Mooney for Science Hill.
So once again, as we close it out tonight, let me just tell you, share with you once again our score from this evening. Your Daniel Boone Trailblazers 21, your Hampton Bulldogs 20. On behalf of our production crew, Zion Riddick tonight with me on color. This is Ron Marvel for VP Productions saying have a good evening. Watch the Vols on Saturday and go to church on Sunday. Everyone have a good night.